Thank you so much for being a volunteer with Universal Healthcare. We know it's going to take every single one of our supporters getting involved in order to really change our healthcare system here in the state of Maine. So thank you so much for that. My name is Ben. I'm the lead field organizer with Maine All Care, one of the organizations working to pass universal healthcare here in the state of Maine. And we are really excited for our Election Day action. Awesome. So I want to talk a little bit about the process of what these next steps are going to be. I know there's been a lot of questions around that. And I know folks have been asking for a training, and so that's what this video is going to serve for its purpose. So the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to get an organizer who's going to call you within the next week to confirm your mailing address and your shift time and polling location. Based on the length of your shift, we're going to mail you a certain number of postcards. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. Once we have all that confirmed, we'll be mailing out those packets to you. Once you've received those packets, we're going to be calling you a few days before Election Day to confirm that you received it and answer any questions you might have. We're also going to thoroughly go through the packet here in this video, so you don't have to worry too much about that. But if some questions come up that we don't answer here, keep those in mind for when we confirm your commitment a few days before Election Day. All right, so now let's go through this packet. So your packet's going to come in an envelope that looks like this. Inside this envelope are going to be all of these contents. Included is going to be another envelope like this. It'll be folded in half and it'll have our return address on it, and the postage will already be applied on there, so you don't have to worry about paying to send it back. We've got you covered. And then you'll also find, so a lot of the stuff that we're going to go over now, you're going to find in a written format right here in your packet. This first page is going to walk you through some of those bigger questions that might come up around why are we doing postcards, right? And that will answer a lot of those questions. The next page is going to walk you through step by step what to do at the polls and what that process is going to look like. So in case you don't remember anything from this video, you should have everything you need in print ready to go. The last page is a suggested script. So if you're like, I don't know how to talk to folks about universal healthcare, I know that innately we might not know how to do that, and that's okay because we've got you prepared with this. The other thing that we'll also be putting in your packet for you will be some informational FAQ sheets that folks can take with them if they have any questions. And know that you're not going to have all the answers to every question, no matter how much you might already know about universal healthcare. And that's okay. So if folks ask questions that you don't know the answer to, you can say, that's a great question. Here's our website, and you can direct them right there. Our website is maineallcare.org, and that will be printed right on that FAQ sheet that folks can take with them. So these are what the postcards are going to look like that you're going to have with you at the polls on Election Day. The question I get a lot is, why are we doing postcarding, right? Why not just have folks sign a list or something basic like that? The reason why we do postcards is because they have so many different functions. So there's 2 postcards to a page. Voters will sign one, and there's a section here so that they can indicate how they'd like to further get involved with the universal healthcare movement. In addition, postcards can be used, let's say there's a legislative push, right? Postcards can be used and sent directly to legislators to show that there's overwhelming support for universal health care here in the state of Maine. Or, if we go to the ballot, they can also be mailed back to folks as a reminder of the commitment that they made to support universal health care, to get them out to vote. Once you get to your polling location, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to text your organizer to let them know that you made it okay and that you've arrived with all of your materials and you're ready to go. Then you'll canvass or talk to voters for those few hours about universal health care, getting them to sign those postcards, pledging their support. Then when you're done and you're getting ready to leave, you're going to text your organizer again to let them know that you're leaving, and you're going to text them the number of postcards that you've collected. Not the number of sheets, but the number of individual postcards. So every voter is signing just 1 postcard per voter. So you'll have 2 per page. So if you have 10 sheets, that means you got 20 voters, right? And with these postcards, we want to make sure that folks are filling out as much information as possible. If they're just signing and printing their name, that's really not very much use to us, right? Because if we do a legislative push or if we do some kind of other action, we have no way to prove that they're a real person. It could just be like a name we made up, right? So the more contact information we have for folks, one, it helps us keep people informed to the work that we're doing and how they can get involved in passing this critical legislation. And it proves that they're a real human, which is really powerful when we're trying to build this kind of grassroots movement. So after you've texted your organizer, you've let them know your numbers, the next day, Wednesday, November 9th, you're gonna put all of your materials, even the blank postcards, back in the return envelope, and you're gonna put it in the mail to us. It's critical that we get these postcards back as soon as we possibly can, because it's gonna be critical that we get all of this information recorded sooner rather than later, so that we can start to engage these folks and get them involved, because it's gonna take all of us doing our part in order to change our current healthcare system. Awesome, so some final tips for while you're at the polls. We wanna make sure that we're being really friendly with folks, right? So a common mistake that a lot of folks will make is they'll say, hey, do you have a minute for universal health care, right? They'll ask for people's time. We know that that's actually not very effective, because it gives people an easy, quick no, right? They can say, nope, don't have time, and they can keep trucking. However, if we rephrase that and we say, hi, do you support universal health care? If the answer is yes, we've already started the conversation, which is so important. Another thing that's really important is that we're asking folks why they care about universal health care, right? We want to be building a connection with folks. We're not just looking for a list of supporters, we're looking to build a movement, and we want to know why people are invested in this, and we want to share with folks, because what we're essentially doing is building a long-term relationship with all of our supporters. So we want to be building that connection. The best way to do that is to ask why they support universal health care, and also share your personal story. Share why you support universal health care. Few more final tips. So you're gonna have people that are like, yeah, I totally support universal health care, and they're gonna be really excited to sign and put their name down. And then they're gonna turn to you and say, well, do you really need my phone number? Do you really need my email address? Is this stuff really important? And the reality is it is. So a great piece of language that you can use to answer that question is actually, yes, your contact information is super important to us. One, it helps us prove that you're a real live person. And two, it's gonna help us keep you up to date with our work, because we know it's gonna take all of us getting involved in order to pass this important legislation. You're also gonna find that there are gonna be folks who are maybe a little skeptical, they're unsure, they wanna know a little bit more about universal health care. And a great kind of pivot for that you can use. You can also own like, hey, I'm volunteering. This is my first time ever talking about this. Bear with me. Folks are very sympathetic to that. But you can pull out your little script here and jump right into that urgency. I would suggest reading through it a few times so that you have it memorized. I'm gonna do a quick read through for you so you can kind of get a sense of what it should sound like. But if somebody asks like, well, why should I care about universal health care? We know that the profit-driven healthcare system is too expensive and is failing the people of Maine. Too many people are suffering because they can't get the healthcare that they need. Those without insurance, the underinsured, people with high deductibles, and medical debt. We believe that healthcare must be treated as a public good, available to all residents of Maine. So we know that if we're going to change the current system, it's going to take all of our supporters getting involved. Will you commit to supporting universal healthcare? And when the answer is yes, awesome. Can I get you to just pledge your support right here on one of these postcards? And then you have them go ahead and sign right there. So the other thing that's gonna happen too, inevitably, is there are gonna be questions that come up that you're not gonna know the answer to. That's all right. Great thing you can say is direct people right to our website. It's maineallcare.org. You can also hand them one of the pieces of literature that we're gonna have. We're gonna have these fun little bookmarks for folks that they can take away. It's got some great facts on there. Feel free to give those out. What we want to really make sure that we're doing though is sometimes people will see that literature and they're gonna want to just take it and be like, oh yeah, I'm a supporter, and they'll take that and run. What we really want to prioritize is not giving out information, but really collecting those supporters' information, right? Because I don't know about you, I know I've definitely with the best of intentions picked up some support information on different causes that I care about. And just because life gets so busy, it's so easy to lose track of that. It ends up at the bottom of my car or lost somewhere in a bag somewhere, right? So we know that if we can collect their information, it's a more effective way for us to keep them up to date with the things that we're working on in order to make universal health care a reality here in Maine. So once again, I want to thank you so much for being a supporter of universal health care and volunteering with us to help build this grassroots movement on Election Day. We know it's going to be a critical action. We're hoping to identify over 4,000 supporters on Election Day, and we certainly can't do it without your help. In case you have any questions in the interim, you can send us an email at maineallcare@oceanoforganizing.com, and we'll get right back to you as soon as we can. When your organizer calls you to confirm your mailing address and all of those pieces, they'll also give you their phone number, so you can feel free to call your organizer as well if any questions arise.